do you think? New hot tubs?
Absolutely.
Absolutely new hot
It's room
tubs.
for two.
Huh? Room for two, yeah. New deluxe garden planter.
So Saturday morning, we're still dealing with Joy. She's inappetent, or rather nibbling, low rumination. We've given her medicine, fever's down, she's drinking water. Everything else is normal. We're gonna try giving her some beer, see if that interests her. It might help kickstart their stuck rumination. And if not, then I get to drink a beer first thing in the morning. Just a few plants from the high school plant sale.
It's Sunday, the 10th of May, and I'm back down here in the forest fence line area. I'm gonna do some chipping. I gotta pull some more material together. I gotta clean the barn again today. I cleaned it on Tuesday, but we've had 3 inches of rain this week. And normally cleaning it and swamping it out and putting down chip and just adding chip and shavings and things to it, good for quite a while, and certainly the bedded pack building up and letting it go. But the rain, because the barn isn't finished, because it's open on 3 sides, a lot of rain gets in there, and 3 inches of rain is way too much come flooding in the barn. So by rights I should have cleaned it yesterday, but I couldn't get down here. It was raining. We got an inch of rain overnight. It was pouring, and we ended up planting some trees that we bought a couple weeks ago. Talk about that later. So anyway, I'm getting clean now. And we've been dealing with Joy. Joy has not been well. She is on the mend. I haven't looked at her chart lately. As of this morning, her rumination was coming back. Her fever is sort of there. We don't quite know what's making her sick. But she does seem to be getting better. We don't know whether it was a physical injury or digestive. That's the two things I'm pointing at, but anyway, it's taking a lot of resources because, again, yesterday was really nasty, so we ended up putting another tarp over her air pen to try and keep her as dry as possible. She cannot go in with the other cows right now. They're bullying her mercilessly, and that is some of why I think this happened. Is so one of the big cows either attacked her and injured her in some way, in her belly or something, upset her digestion and hurt her, or she ate something because she wasn't given any other choice because the other cows had forced her out of eating better stuff and she was hungry. I don't know. Anyway, she's one of our better cows, honestly. She is making a ton of milk when she's healthy. As a first calf heifer calving in her fresh period, making the kind of milk she's making, she has all the potential to be a awesome cow, and she is just a sweetheart. So I am not happy that she is ill. I'm not happy that she's being bullied by the other cows. It is just a pecking order thing. Broken log going out of my way. It is a pecking order thing. It is a complete hierarchy thing, but whatever's causing her to be sick is not great. And I think some of it is she's stressed from being low on the pecking order. That's also, brought her immune system down to whatever this is. We haven't had the vet out yet. It's not to the level of needing the vet yet. We're within our capabilities of consultation and using the medicines we keep on farm and the knowledge we have. And I'm not sure the vet could do any better than us at this point, given she shows no physical signs. And the thing about the SmaxTech bolus system is it's giving us way advanced, like 2 to 3 days advanced information on what's happening before a cow actually would seem sick. And that's sort of the way it is with Joy. So, and the idea is you see it that early, you nip it in the bud, you get it taken care of, you give the supportive care before it becomes a health issue or, antibiotics and all the rest of the stuff. So hopefully we caught this early with Joy. Anyway, I'm going to chip. I got to clean the barn. Tomorrow's another week. I can't believe that May is passing. I didn't get to do a grass walk yet on Friday. Had so much stuff to do, and it also started raining. And yesterday it rained all day, and today I'm doing this, and we've done some other stuff for the neighbors. So it's the good news is it's cool. It looks like it's going to be cool this month, cooler, which is better than hotter than normal. It will also slow the grass growth down. And while I want to get the cows out because it alleviates some of the hierarchy issues. Joy could join the rest of the herd out. It'll help that. The grasses, once they start getting grass into their diet, they all shed their winter coat. They get a gloss on them. It's like a tonic for them. So definitely want to get them out, but I'm not putting them out before the grass is ready. There are other farms here in the state that are grazing already, and I don't understand. I see the photos of the cows out there, and the grass isn't even as tall as what's right here, and this isn't tall enough. I wouldn't send the cow. That's what I want the cows to leave behind, that much. Sending the cows out to graze, that would mean it would get later and later, and each successive grazing there'd be less and less of that patch of grass. If I wait till it's ideal and graze it then, it'll still be ideal the next time they come around, and at least 3 or 4 more times. And then as the heat of the summer causes it to slump off, well, then there's other issues. But I want to make sure the entire grazing area on this farm has the best, most palatable grass so the cows eat it most efficiently, and it's the healthiest for them. So yeah, I definitely want to get the cows out, but I do not want to get them out too early and ruin the future grass for this season. So yeah, well, there's cows out right now. I don't understand how the farmers are doing it. But I am getting close. It is really down to just getting some drier weather, because my fields, I'm very heavy land here. Very clay is right up near the surface. So there's only a couple feet of topsoil, and that gets perched with water, and then the cows come in and muck it up, and then you don't grow anything, so I have to wait. Just about done cleaning the barn. I realize a couple things. Well, we are cooler overall this spring. We are warmer than normal. And we've had more rainfall this spring, so the barn's flooding more. No, that's not water, that's just shine. And keeping this front half of the barn since thaw. Now, normally, when it's freezing, there's just no way. Overnight, the manure freezes to solid. We just let it build up. We keep adding the pack just like we do in the back half. Build it up front here until we get a thaw in January or February. Clean it all out. Start again. And then when it gets above freezing, we clean out the front half. In fact, I cleaned out the whole barn, reset the back half, and left the front half for daily clean out, just adding to the pack in the back. Now, I still have to lime and refresh the pack for today. But since this spring, because we've been having these bigger rain events, 1 inch in a day, rather than spread out over a couple days, happens to flood it a lot more all at once, because we've got the ramp up into the parlor, no roof over there. It's a mess because things didn't get finished. That barn needs to be built. That roof, once that roof is on between the big barn and this barn, we'll be all set as far as that's concerned. Now, what I noticed this last storm yesterday, inch of rain, this front half of the barn got really wet because it was blowing in from this side, the open feed rail side. Now, I could damp down on this upper section a little more with maybe some netting. And I might try that for the summer, some black mesh to block the sun. It would also shed some rain. But also, we're talking about building a roof out over the hay bale area out there, and that would solve that problem too. This end out there is going to get the feed shed that'll cover up that slatted area, and so nothing come there. We very rarely get wind, but rare, and snow, but not rain out of the north, and usually the cladding there blocks that. This is a nice open area barn. We tend not to have a lot of issues with humidity or too much moisture, humid air, and pneumonia and things. So having this ventilation is great. However, it allows the rain in the way it's at. But what I realized today is, just now, this front feed rail area, the cows, because it's not chopped hay, because I didn't make it, and it's long stem hay, they're pulling in big clumps, and they're coming out here 6-8 feet, mat of hay.
And as soon as they come in, they'll have hay all over the floor. Now, when I normally take this scraper, just like I started this segment with, the scraper, and just come in here every day around the cows, weave my way, scrape out the manure, put it into the bucket, skid steer waiting outside the gate there. Works great, except with this hay all over the floor, the barn scraper doesn't work, and I've been really struggling to keep on top of it, which is why I've been struggling to keep on top of it, which is why I added the procedure of letting it build up a little bit, adding more shavings to this side of the barn, and then cleaning it out once a week. Now, in this case, I've had to clean it out twice this week because of the amount of rain. And going forward, because we're having these warmer, wetter springs and warmer winters, and this next winter with Super El Nino perhaps could be very wet and very warm, we won't have the freezing temperatures to set the pack and to keep this good. We'll have more wet weather. The barn will flood more often. I doubt we're going to get the new barn built there, but what we can do, absolutely, is put concrete out here so I can just squeegee this whole floor right out and over the wall and down into the manure pit. Won't be any trying to pick up slop with a teaspoon. And I mean that we were never designed on this farm to deal with slurry, and all of a sudden, well, since switching to silage 4 years ago, and now with wetter, heavier rainy periods, we're having a lot more dirty water, slurry, manure mix, and this setup out here isn't detailed for that. We're gonna have to make that change, because the last thing I want is a runoff of manure. I mean, it's already it stops. I have it guided off into the manure area down there, but God forbid it went too far and got into the waterway down to the river. Ain't gonna happen. I work hard to prevent that, but I do want to make it even more simple to just squeegee the stuff over there and be done with it. And again, I think going forward this winter, we may try and change the location of the parlor, but more importantly, we're going to change the bedded pack and put in, I think, if we can make it work, I'd like to put in freestall stanchions. We can get 10 in here, 5 aside, and then when we do build the new barn, this could be the dry cow house. They'll have the stanchions. If we don't get that built, this can be the milking, because the parlor's here, this can be the milking cow barn. We'll put another container up there and make it the dry cow area up where the calves live now. And that should spread the weight of animals between 2 areas rather than this barn and one just adjacent. I think we can make that work, because, and it's going to be a necessity because the weather is changing, because the climate is changing, because we're getting these wet rain periods. It hasn't been raining today, but it is definitely gray and nasty, and it's going to rain. I think it's actually supposed to be nice tomorrow, maybe, I hope. But it's going to rain most of this week again, which we need it. We've been in drought, and we need to climb out of drought, but also I need to be able to graze my cows. I need to be able to keep them clean and healthy and dry and all of those things. So I'm going to put these tools away, run up and get a bag of lime, spread in here. Joy is keeping me company in her pen, and I am so happy to say that she is ruminating and chewing her cud, which she has not been doing since Friday. So Sunday. So that's a good turnaround. That is a great sign, and we have done the right things so far to make this turnaround possible. Still have no idea what's made her sick. Any number of things it could have been. So stress being one of them, from being the lowest on the pecking order. All right, I'm gonna get the skid steer out of here, run up, grab some lime, and come back. idea of mine. I want to turn this, what has been a wasteland, into something practical. I don't need a piece of metal on the driveway. This little area here outside the creamery is really nice in the summer. Except for the last 3 or 4 summers, we've always had stuff here, and sometimes there's been a baler parked right here being worked on. And hopefully that isn't going to be the case this summer, because we're changing this into a little dining area. To wit, I'm going to make some planters out of these water troughs. Now, the reason I went with water troughs and not just the galvanized loops of metal that make planters that are actually about the same price is because I want these to be movable. So I wanted there to be a floor on them. I wanted to raise them up off the ground on 4x4s so I can come in with the skid steer and the pitch and the forks and pick these up and move them. Because in the winter, what I want to do is stack them up against the building, or put them somewhere under cover, or somewhere other than just out here so I can plow the driveway, rather than have this all snowed in. Now, we'll see what the winter's like. I mean, if we don't get a lot of snow, I might leave them. But the idea is 2 here on the outside, here, 1 at the end, another long one of these, and then 2 short ones blocking off that end with a pass through the middle so we can come in here, people can, go through them and dine. We'll set some bistro tables out here, and then customers can eat out here. We have sent people to our bistro over there by the house, but we thought this was extra overflow would be nice. And the people, when they're dining up there, can come and sit here beforehand or whatever. So, and also, this having these, 5 planting spaces will give us more grow. More herbs, more vegetables, everything. And so we're going to plant these mostly with kitchen vegetable sorts of things. Tomatoes and herbs, basil, cucumbers, lettuce, that sort of stuff. We're going to, peas, just whatever we can get. And also some edible flowers. So I'm working on that. And then I decided to treat these, because they're on blocks, so I can get under them. I may have to put a middle block in. I don't know how. I know these things are, what are these stock tanks? 250 gallons. So that's 1,600 pounds. It's almost a ton. I don't know how much the soil and stone and everything I'm going to put in here weighs. So I've reinforced the bottom with some wood that goes, some 2-inch of wood that goes over between those 2 blocks to help support the floor and buffer the floor. Now I'm going to put in some drainage stone, a couple inches, like 4 inches of drainage stone, so that it'll drain. The wood I don't care about. That can be wet, that can be rot. That's just there for now. We'll see how this goes. Should last a few years. And then I'm going to put in, over the stone, I'm going to put in logs. I'm treating these kind of like a modified hugel bed. Now, hugel beds are a mound of soil, actually a trench, and then logs, and then limbs piled over the logs, and then straw, and then earth piled up over that, and then mulch. And you plant into that. And the idea is maybe not in the first year when the wood's still whole and not waterlogged, it might not perform great. It'll still perform. But then the second year, when that wood in there is waterlogged, it acts as a sink and traps and holds the water. It doesn't drain through, providing a constant source of water for the root zone. And it'll also rot and decompose and provide all those nutrients and things. So I'm going to throw some of those in. I'm also using the logs to take up space, because it will be immensely heavy if I do try and fill the trough completely with soil. And so I'm also got to go down and mix up some soil and some composted manure down there to bring up here to put in over the top of the logs. So I'm going to drop the bucket of logs off, go get the stone, and then we'll put the logs back in, and then the stone first, the logs back in, and then I got to come up with some got the stone in. We've got our logs in, and I filled in some voids with some firewood. And now we're going to dump topsoil in. And this is some pretty well rotted compost mixed in with some topsoil from down below. Keep a reserve of it for gardens and stuff. Of the containers planted. Let's hope they grow. I'm gonna wait to put any compost on the top of this and use it more as a top dressing. I want the plants to start growing and get upright and recover from their transplant shock. If I need to, I could make some compost tea and pour it on here. But like these, some of these plants were not well established, and so they may struggle. Like these parsleys aren't. I mean, some of them are pretty big, but given how long they've been in the ground or in the containers and in the greenhouse, I'm surprised they're not as big as they are. And some of the plants got a little leggy, but that's, for the price and to support the school, it was worth it. So I've also added on top of the bedding plants here, or whatever we're calling them, I've added some scallions, nasturtium, some lettuce seeds, some arugula, and I've just soaked them all in. Like I said, we'll wait for these to get established, and then I can compost around them. And then I've got it was all I could do to fit one of these in the car and tie the other one to the roof of the Subaru. So I either have to borrow a truck and go get the other 3, or just make a few trips over to Tractor Supply to get these. I've got a mess to clean up because I dumped stone everywhere. And get started. Got to neaten this all up. And I got to find another. I know I have another pressure treated 4x4 down below, I think, because I'm going to want that for the feet for the other containers. And I'm happy to say they don't look like they've sagged. Now we haven't had a rain. There's not a ton of not bedded right. There's not a ton of water in there, so we'll see what happens when we get some soaking rains, whether it comes out. I've left the bung out of the center of the containers, but because these are on a slope, they could get quite wet on the far side. I may have to drill some other holes. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to clean up and go have lunch.